Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to ONPASSIVE Singapore, Malaysia Global. ONPASSIVE was formed in November 2020, and our first public webinar was on 30th September 2021 under the mentorship of Dr. Bill Williams. We meet every Thursday like today, and the mission of ONPASSIVE, why we are here week after week, is to ignite passion for humanity. All of us are here, we have a passion, and we are here to ignite passion for humanity, to nurture mindset and leadership for passion and OBLESS, to form passion groups for good causes. As we come together, we know each other's passion and goals and desires. So like-minded people can come together to form passion groups for good causes. We believe ONPASSIVE is a divine movement of God, and we thank Mr. Ash Mufarah for answering God's call to run this humanitarian movement to make the world a better place. Today's speaker is Dr. Tunishai Ford. And before we introduce the speaker officially, Kumaran will take the next segment, and that is our usual intro video for tonight. Kumaran, take over.
Thanks, Mabel. Before I play the song, I just want to say thanks to Brother Heinz Kapner, because like what Mabel said, when we started in September 2021, Dr. Bill William was here. So his friend, our brother Heinz Kastner, is one of the foreigner who joined the Singapore webinars. So welcome back. Thank you.
I enjoyed.
This is just the beginning. I'm very happy how it came out. Nothing like we planned, but it was perfect.
We go to the top with the Philippines. We go to the top with the Netherlands.
Singapore.
We go to Singapore.
Absolutely. We are in Singapore. We'll make a show of it. Yeah.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, indeed.
See you at the top.
See you at the top. Thank you, Dr. Bill. Appreciate you.
We promised our founders, as always, we over-delivered. Stay tuned for much more to come.
Greetings to my Singapore, Malaysia family, and all other global brand ambassadors. I am honored to be able to present to you today, Thursday, August 15th at 9 o'clock p.m. Singapore, Malaysia time and 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. My topic today is This is a comma in your life, not a period, which is the title of my second book. I want to encourage you all to persevere and be resilient during life's challenges. I want you to finish strong on your journey. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Kumaran. And we are on recording. I just want to encourage Jeannie that we are praying for you. You may have a fall, but you will be divinely touched and healed. So, Jeannie, we are for you. You will be back with us soon. And so tonight, our speaker is Dr. Tunishai A. Ford. Dr. T is the founder of this organization called Your Own Uniqueness, Inc. Dr. T is an international transformational speaker, life coach, empowerment trainer, teacher of life skills. And she has a talk show called the Dr. Tunishai Ford Show. She is the editor-in-chief of an online international magazine called Discovering You magazine. You can go online to a website to sign up for it. It's free. And here is the thing, she is the author of 4 books. I Miss the Hugs. These are the titles. I Miss the Hugs, H-U-G-S, but not the Hurts, H-U-R-T-S. The Spirit in You is another book, and another book, Taking Control of Your Life from the Inside Out. Tonight, she's going to take the topic of her second book called This is a Comma in Your Life, Not a Period. So this is actually the topic of tonight, her message. Dr. T, before you come on board, I just want to thank you and appreciate you on OPASSION. Appreciate you. Thank you for walking this journey with us in Asia. And we know you are nurturing and empowering us. Thank you. Continue to come month after month. This is what we anticipate. Tonight, take as long as you need, Dr. T. The platform is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, all of you. You all don't even know how much I appreciate my old Passion family. I really look forward to seeing you all. You know, that's why I've been making an effort to come every week in addition to the time that I have to speak. I was out of the country last week, so I couldn't spend that time with you all, but I know it must have been an exciting time. But again, I thank you all for just allowing me to share this platform with you. And this topic is very, very special to my heart. And even the conversation that you all were having before you introduced me, you know, about how people are feeling, you know, some people may be feeling discouraged. They think it's a scam. You know, they don't want to go on the journey. They don't want to go the long haul. You know, the message that I'm getting ready to share with you all tonight, I believe is very befitting. And when I begin to share this, I think you'll understand what I mean. I want to talk to you about this topic because it's about perseverance. It's about healing. It's about purpose. It's about understanding that there's somebody out there called God that is greater than ourselves. And when we tap into that, we will realize that we're well on our way to doing everything that God has ordained for us. but sometimes there are challenges. And I want to take you on a journey. Let's go back to the year of 1998. Wow, that was a long time ago. I know. A long time ago, 1998. But let's go back. And I want to share with you a testimony before I get into the meat of the message. And when I share this testimony with you, I want to share with you some of the principles that I learned from going through this ordeal. On January 28th, 1998, Dr. T was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. For those of you who may not know, that is a form of cancer. It's cancer in the lymphatic system. I was in the fourth and last stage of the cancer. I had a tumor in my chest. It was 9 centimeters large. 9 centimeters is it's like the size of a large limb or a small fist in my chest. Can you imagine that? A tumor in your chest? I had one on my spine. When I was diagnosed, I guess you can imagine what it would be like for someone to tell you that you have cancer. But before I go on, I want to go back a little further, go back in time a little more. Let's go to 1997, the month of July. During that time in my life, I was very happy. I had a dream job. I had the best employer. I used to work for Detroit Public Schools. I was a teacher for Detroit Public Schools. I had a new car. There was a new guy in my life. I was living large, Dr. T. I was living large. Wonderful time. But one of the things that I wanted to do is I always wanted to be an example to other women because I was starting, really getting into my speaking business, doing what I believe that God called me to do. And so I wanted to be an example. And one of the things that I knew I fell short in is that I never took the time for a long time to get a physical. And it's so important to have physicals, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever take that for granted. Some people don't believe in going to doctors for whatever the reason may be. But going to the doctor could also be preventive, not just for getting a cure, but preventing diseases. And Dr. T had not been to a doctor in over 10 years. Shame on you, Dr. T. Yes, shame on me. But I wanted to be an example to other women. So how can I be an example and teach women how to be the total person and be the best they can be if I didn't take care of my physical body? So I made an appointment to see the doctor. And when I saw the doctor, he looked at me, he said, "Oh, you're the specimen of health." I mean, he looked at me like, "Oh, wow, you're a nice looking woman. You got nice. I mean, he went on, nice shape. He was just flabbergasted. Oh, you got it going on, Dr. T. Okay, I pat myself on the back. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. So I thought. I had my blood work done. A couple of weeks later, the doctor called me back and said, "Your hemoglobin count is a little low, but we're not going to worry about it. We'll just give you some iron pills and give you some shots and everything, and we'll bring it up and you'll be okay." Now, how many of you know, this is really funny because it's like everything was going so well, but a few weeks later, maybe a month later, I started experiencing this excruciating pain. I mean, it was so excruciating, I couldn't bear it. And I kept going back and forth to emergency. I went back to see the same doctor, and he took more blood work, and he realized that my hemoglobin count was not going up. Now, for a woman, a grown woman, your hemoglobin count should be between 10 and 12. Mine was 6. Anytime your hemoglobin count is low like that, that is showing you there's danger. Something is not right. It's in your blood. Something is not right. So the doctor sent me to a specialist, a hematologist/oncologist. Uh-oh. So I went to see the hematologist, oncologist, and he started filling my lymph node. You all know how they fill your lymph nodes under my arms, around my neck, in this area. And he noticed that one of the lymph nodes was enlarged. Another danger sign, ladies and gentlemen. Your lymph node should not be enlarged. So he said, he's like, it was the size of a dime. And he began to roll it around. He said, "What is that?" I said, what's going on, doc? He said, I don't know yet. He said, "We're going to take a biopsy. We're going to take a test, and we're going to find out what's going on." But I still had all of this excruciating pain in my chest. I mean, it was so painful. It felt like somebody took a steel-toe boot and kicked me in my chest. That's how bad the pain was. But anyway, they scheduled the biopsy, and they also took an X-ray of my chest. And as they were wheeling me into the operating room, there was my X-ray of my chest with this big mass in the middle of my chest. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine me going into the operating room? Here's my X-ray. When I'm being wheeled in, right there before me with a big mass. And I said, "What is that?" They said, "We don't know yet." So anyway, they did the biopsy, and a day or two later, they gave me the results of the test. The surgeon called me. He said, "Miss Ford," he said, "are you sitting down?" I was at my home. I was in my house. He said, "Are you sitting down?" Yes. He said, "I have very bad news for you." He said, "You have cancer." Oh my Lord, it's like my world just fell apart. I can remember it like it was just yesterday. I was in my home, and all I could hear is I kept saying to myself, "You have cancer. You have cancer." It's like it didn't quite sink in. You have cancer? Here I am at having the greatest time of my life. Dream job. I was happy. I was thriving, doing what God called me to do. And here I am, cancer. What am I going to do with this? And at that time, I just called out to God, and I remember so well. And you may not believe this, but in that still, quiet voice, I heard God say to me, "Tunishai." I said, "Not now, God." Can you imagine? Not now, not now. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I heard that word, Tunishai, and I said, I just got still. He said, "This is a comma in your life, not a period." This is what he spoke to me. This is a comma in your life, not a period. Now, God has a sense of humor. You may say, "Well, how do you come up with that title?" I used to teach adults. I got them ready. Those adults who dropped out of high school and they want to come back to school to get their high school equivalency, I taught them how to get ready for their GED test. I taught them how to get back into the swing of things by going back to school. So one of the things I taught was English. And so I always taught them about commas, the overusage of commas, when not to use commas, things like that. So God took the very thing that I taught about comments to use it to encourage me. This is a comma in your life. It's not a period. Okay? So I said, "Oh my God." So I said, "Lord, I have cancer." He said, "Don't worry about it." He said, "It is not unto death." He said, "I'm going to heal you, and I'm going to raise you up, and I'm going to send you out. And you let them know that I'm God. And you let them know that the principles that you're going to learn when you go through this ordeal." You see, it was not an instantaneous healing. Sometimes God will allow you to go through things to teach you the very lesson that you need to learn. So I want to take you on this journey with me. I want to show you and teach you the lessons, the principles that God gave to me when I went on this journey. So let's go forward now to 1998. At that time, my mother was 75 years old. She was my primary caretaker. Can you believe that? A 75-year-old. I went from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane. If you met me right now, you would never believe I was ever sick a day in my life. You would never believe it. And in September of the same year, I was cancer-free. In fact, it was a time when I went from making well over $3,000 a month, that's take-home pay, and to $300 a month because I had to get on welfare. Yes, I had to get on welfare because I no longer was able to work. Can you imagine me going from over $3,000 to $300 a month? If it wasn't for the little savings that I had, I wouldn't have made it. And there were people that I worked with that took up a collection for me and brought it to my home. That's how I live, Dr. T. Yes, that's how I live because people were compassionate and took up an offering for me so that I could survive. I had to take care of my mother's needs. I had to pay my house note. I had to pay my gas, my lights. Everything was due. Nobody said, "Well, because you have cancer, we won't charge you this month." No one said that. I still had to survive. So you can imagine the challenges that I went through. But during that ordeal, God was still ministering to me. And he still assured me that everything was going to be okay. And every single month we ate. Every single month my bills got paid. Every single month my mother and I became closer, because for a minute we were a little estranged, but we came closer. And she said to me, she said, Tunishai, she said, I'm sorry that you have cancer, but in a way I'm glad, because it's bringing us closer together. If that makes any sense at all. She said, it's bringing us closer together. We spend so much quality time together, my mother and I thank God for her. I thank God. And every single day, she would put her little hands together and she would pray around 7 o'clock in the morning when I was on my bed of affliction. I was laying there sickly, couldn't even move. I was so sick. And she put her hands together and she said, Lord, don't take my baby. Don't take my baby, because she has so much to do for you. Don't take my baby. Every morning, without fail, she prayed that. She prayed that without fail. And I'm still here. My mother has gone on to glory, but I'm still here. And I'm here because I'm a living testimony to know that a mother, God hears a mother's prayer. God has a purpose, not only for me, but for all of you. So now I want to fast forward to now, and I want to share with you the principles that God allowed me to learn when I went through this ordeal. Because there were certain things that I was going through. He let me know that the cancer that you had, you brought it on yourself. You opened up a door. Do you know that you could open up doors for bad things to happen to you? That's what happened. He said, you opened up a door, and sometimes you could open up portals, spiritual portals, for the enemy to attack your body, to attack your life, to attack your mind, to attack your lifestyle. Open up portals. And I opened up portals because I was harboring unforgiveness in my heart. I was harboring bitterness. I was harboring these things, and I didn't realize I was doing it. And God began to show me. He had me to go to people that I was harboring unforgiveness to and ask me to tell them that you forgive them, and then ask them to forgive you. I had to do that. That was the hardest thing to do. And that's when the healing began. So now let's go through the principles that God taught me. And I want to share this with you, and I want you to take it to heart. Don't worry about taking notes. I want you to listen to me, okay? I'm going to do a recap like I always do, but right now I just want you to listen. I want you to absorb and digest what I'm sharing with you today, because this is so important, because we have so many people in the world right now. Look at the world. All the things, you can't turn on the news without hearing all of these bad things. It's because people are hurting and they don't know what to do with these hurts. And I wish that we had more people on this webinar, and I hope that there are people on YouTube who are watching this message. But you have so many people who are hurting that they're self-destructive. And I remember sharing with you a while back that if a person is hurting, if they don't have a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, it is inevitable that they're going to destroy themselves and try to take as many people with them as they can, because they're hurting. Because they're hurting. So I'm going to share with you right now principles. Whatever you may be going through. I don't know any of you personally, we don't spend time together like that. I wish we did, because I know that you are a wonderful group of people. But if you're hurting, whatever you're going through, maybe financially, it might be physically, it might be emotionally, it might be relationship, whatever it is, this is a comma in your life. It's not a period. It's not going to take you out. If you hold on to God and you apply these spiritual principles that I'm going to share with you today. So the first principle that I want to share with you today is to forgive. Number one, forgive. Forgive yourself. Forgive the situation and let go of the past. Forgive. Let it go. If people have hurt you and offended you, forgive them. It's for you. Forgiveness is for you. It sets you free. Forgiveness is such a powerful force. And when you learn to forgive people and just release them, whatever you're going through, the healing begins at that point. Forgive yourself. Sometimes the person that you hold the greatest things for is yourself. It's hard for you to forgive you because you feel like, oh, I'm not worthy. I did this, I did that. Forgive yourself. Let that go. Don't be your own worst enemy. Stop being the victim. Forgive the situation. So what does that mean, Dr. T, to forgive the situation? Sometimes we go through ordeals, like my cancer ordeal. I was angry about going through that. I was bitter about having cancer. So I had to learn to forgive that cancer ordeal. Some of you may have gone through divorces. You may have gone through a financial plight, and wherever it may have been, but it set you back. It made your world upside down. Forgive that situation. And then let go of the past. The past is what it is. It's the past. Let's look forward to the future. Your future is great. The Word of God tells us that He knows the plans that He has for you. They're plans to prosper you and not to harm you, but to give you an expected end. That's your future. So let go of the past. Stop living in the past, but look forward to the future. The second principle God shared with me, He said, I want you to identify the areas of your life that you've experienced pain, and then admit that you've held on to it long enough. Sometimes we have pain in our life. We want to hold on to it. Well, I gotta carry this pain with me. Let it go. No. I gotta get my pain. You gotta take my pain with me. Gotta take it with me everywhere I go. I gotta take my pain because for some reason it makes me feel alive to have this pain. It's time out to stop carrying the pain and admit that you've held on to it long enough. So sometimes the people are in denial. Do you have an issue going? Oh, no, I'm good. How you doing? I'm fine. I'm good. All is well. And all is not well. You're not doing good. You're not fine because you're holding on to pain that you refuse to let go. It's time to let it go. Admit to yourself that you've held on to the pain long enough. Pain is not your friend. Pain is not your portion. Pain is not your destiny. Let it go. Let it go. And the third thing God showed me, He said, avoid those toxic situations, Tunishai. Avoid those toxic situations. Oh, passion. Avoid them. Relationships, lifestyle. There are people that are around you right now. I don't know any of you. I don't know your situation, but there might be people around you, maybe family, friends, associates that are toxic. They have no business being in your inner circle, but because you love them, you feel obligated to let them be in your inner circle. God said, let them go. They're not part of your journey. They're not part of your purpose. You can love them from afar. You can still love them, but it doesn't mean that they're part of God's plan for you. They're toxic. They're destroying you. I remember a story long ago. There was a story of a man who was a bird watcher, and he was watching this eagle as it soared through the sky. And then all of a sudden, he swooped down and he picked up an object, the eagle. But when he picked up, it was a weasel. It was a weasel. And this weasel was just tearing at his chest, but the eagle was still flying around, majestically just flying around. And the bird watcher was observing all of this. And then he realized that, wait a minute, what is going on here? This weasel is just tearing at this eagle's chest. And then all of a sudden, the eagle just fell down to the ground and died. And the bird watcher said to himself, wow, all the eagle had to do was let go. Let it go. Let that toxicity go in your life. You're the ego. Let the weasels in your life go. They're not adding anything to you. All they're doing is taking away. And I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care about your notoriety. We all have toxic people that we allow to come into our inner space. And it's time for them to leave. Kick them out. Love them from a distance, but they're not part of God's plan. You are majestic. Stop hanging out with the pigeons and the chickens. You're soaring, and you cannot soar high if you have toxicity in your life. So let it go. Number 4. Wow, this is powerful. Number 4, learn how to say no to things that are not in your heart to do. I can stop right there and end the whole thing right here, right there, right there. Learn to say no. I don't, that's not in my heart to do. It doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't make you selfish because you say no. I'm not talking about being stingy or being self-centered. I'm not saying that. Because some people say no to everything. They don't want to help you. They don't want to do anything for you. I'm not talking about that. I mean, when people put conditions on you and put different things that they want you to do for them that is not part of your plan or God's plan, it's going to take up time that you don't have. It makes you feel guilty because you cannot be compliant. What does that do? All it does is stresses you out. It just stresses you out. Learn to say no. There's a time to say yes, and there's a time to say no. If it's not a part of the plan, if it's something that you know that's not going to benefit you or benefit your loved ones, don't do it. There are people who are users. They'll have you doing things to appease them. And then you feel like, wow, look at all the work, all the energy I invested in that, and I'm feeling like I'm just feeling so empty. I'm just feeling so overwhelmed. How many times have you felt like that? How many times have you felt like that? Just be honest with yourself. It's okay to say no. No is a good word because it lets people, it sets boundaries. It lets people know exactly where you stand. So learn to say no and stop doing things that are not a part of God's plan for your life and it's not in your heart to do it. Because when you do it, all you're doing is wasting your time. All you're doing is wasting your time. And you're not going to be blessed for it. God does not bless you because you're doing something to appease someone else. He said, I didn't tell you to be over there. I told you to be over there. There are people that God is assigned to you, that you've been assigned to. And you're so busy doing something else that you shouldn't be doing. And the person that you're assigned to help doesn't get the help. Doesn't get the help. I see Yvonne. Thank you, Yvonne. You don't get the help because you're busy doing something you shouldn't be doing. Learn how to say no. Number 5. Number 5. Remember, you are what you eat. Spirit, soul, and body. Not just what you feed your body. What are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding your spirit? You're a triune being. You're a body, you have a spirit, and you function with a mind. And if you're not feeding that right, you're not going to be a healthy individual. There are people out there who are, they have these beautiful physiques, they work out and everything, but their minds are warped. Their spirit is dying on the inside. They have the appearance of, oh, I got it going on. I got this shapely body, I'm tan, I'm whipped, everything, but they're dying on the inside. You are what you eat. Spirit, soul, and body. Remember that. Remember, we're talking about this is a comma in your life. It's not a period. And there's certain principles that you have to be able to walk in so that you can experience all that God has for you. Whatever you're going through, God will bring it out. But you have your part to play. He's going to do his part. He never fails. He never fails. But sometimes we fall short. So I'm giving you principles today to live by. And if you exercise these principles, that goes for Dr. T too. Dr. T is not perfect. And I'm learning these, and I'm trying to exercise in these principles too. That's why I'm sharing them with you. I'm the first partaker. And now I'm sharing them with you. So just remember that you are what you eat. Spirit, soul, and body. And number 6, get a life. Hey, get a life. I see you, Cooper Ron. Get a life. Some of you are just workaholics. All you do is work, 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 work. And you think you're doing something. No. When was the last time you just woke up in the morning and took a brisk walk just because? Not going anywhere in particular, just took a brisk walk. When was the last time you went to a movie, left your house and went to a movie theater? When was the last time you just read a book, not a self-help book, not a book on AI, Kumaran, but a book just to be reading a book, a novel, just to enjoy? When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you called your girlfriend or your best friend and say, hey, let's go out to lunch? When was the last time you seen your girlfriend, your best girlfriend, or your best friend? When was the last time you seen them? I'm working. What you do? I'm working. I'm working. It's 24/7. You working. In your sleep. You're working. Get a life. Get a life. Start enjoying the days that God has given you. 8 hours, you sleep. 8 hours, you work. What do you do with the other hours? Enjoy. Take a weekend trip just because. Do something for you. Get a massage. Take your best buddy, your dog, for a walk. Do something fun. Get a life. Get a life. That's the principle. Get a life. God's not going to get mad at you if you don't have a life. You don't have to sit, you don't have to pray 24/7. You don't have to be on the battlefield 24/7. Those of you who are in the ministry, I know how you are in the ministry, your whole calendar, ministry, 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 ministry. When do you have a day off? Oh, I'm working for the Lord. I'm on the battlefield. Okay. Hey, even God rested. He even rested. He probably looks at us and said, he looks at us and laughs. That's his enjoyment. I'm looking at the humans that I made. They're funny. They're funny. So let's begin to get a life and enjoy the life that God has given you. You can work and work hard, but play just as hard. Enjoy the time that God has given you on this earth. Number 7. Number 7. If you are at a dead-end job or a dead-end career, do something about it. Do something about it. Many of you have jobs or careers and you hate it. That you may say, well, that's the reason why I joined ONPASSIVE, because I don't like my job. I don't like the career I'm in. And I'm waiting on those apples to come and waiting for things to come to fruition so I can really get busy in doing what's in my heart. But you can start now. We cannot wait on Mr. Ash. He's doing what he has to do to get things up and running. But in the meantime, what are you doing to get away from that dead-end job and that career that you're in? Take the time now. If it means taking some classes to train for what you really want to do. If it means going to seminars or workshops to train what you want to do. If it means, taking less hours, putting money aside and making sure that you're saving so when that day comes, you'll have money in the bank. What are you doing to prepare to leave that unhappy situation that you're in? So many people, every single day is just a job and they have nothing to show for it. They live from check to check. They don't take any vacations. One vacation a year. That's what they do. Take some time off, take a vacation. One vacation a year. They give all their time to an employer. And when they do leave, they get a pen or maybe a couple of dollars, maybe a severance pay, whatever it may be. But it's not worth it. So if you're in a dead-end job or you have a career that you really don't like, it's time for you to start making moves and do something about it. I have a friend who used to always tell me, I said, D, I would tell her, I'm so tired of this. I'm tired of doing this. She said, you're not tired. Because when you get tired, you're going to do something about it. You're going to do something about it. Stop talking about it. Do it. Be a doer. Not just talking, flapping your feet. Oh, if I could do. No. Keep your mouth shut and make actions to do it. Leave that dead-end job. Leave that career that you don't want to do anymore. But I'm not talking about just drop it. I'm talking about make preparations. So when you leave that job, that you'll have money to take care of yourself until the dream job comes to fruition. And for some of you, that might be on passive full time. And that's fine. But in the meantime, start making preparation, because the longer you stay in that position, you're killing yourself. Many of you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, heart problem, whatever it may be. Why? Because you're stressed. Because you're doing things that you don't like doing. I'm about to stop doing that. I'm retired, so I don't have a 9-to-5 job, but that used to be me. That used to be me. I had to leave my job a long time ago and say, you know what? I can't do this anymore. So I left my job, but I also had things in place. And I am happier now than I've ever been. I am the CEO and founder, as you all know, of Your Own Uniqueness Incorporated. I'm an author. I'm a former TV talk show host. I did all of these things after I left my 9-to-5 job. And I'm happier now than I've ever been. I'm still trying to get there. I haven't arrived. Dr. T has not arrived. I still want to do far more. There's still more things I want to accomplish. But I'm letting you all know, if you're in that situation, get out of that situation before it's too late. Before it's too late. Number 8, fall in love with you. Fall in love with yourself. You didn't see that one coming, did you, Kim Ryan? You just fall in love with you. You know, it's so easy. You want to fall in love with someone else. Oh, I want to be in love. Oh, I want this, I want that, I want the opposite sex. I want him to love me.
Dr. P, I thought you want to
I want her
fall
to
in
love
love.
me. Do you love you?
No,
Fall in
Dr.
love,
P,
Kim Ryan. Fall in love with yourself. Fall in
No,
love with you.
I thought you want to say fall in love again.
Hey, fall in love with you. Then you can fall in love again. Fall in love with you. And that's something that people look in the mirror and say, I'm in love with you. Woo yourself. Woo you. Take yourself out to dinner. Buy yourself some flowers. Woo you. Take care of you. You know, that's the most important thing. You cannot be any good to anybody else if you don't love you. That's the greatest love. The first love is to love God with all your heart and all your soul, all your might. Then he says to love your neighbor as what? As you love you. I think we get that scripture mixed up. You know, we put more emphasis on loving the neighbor. No. Love you. Love your neighbor as you love you. I can't love my neighbor until I love me. I cannot love my neighbor until I love me. So when I love me, I can love you. Fall in love with you. Look in the mirror. I don't care if you got a big nose. I don't care if you got a pimple there. So what? Your nose is not going nowhere unless you want to have plastic surgery. Deal with it. That's your nose. God knew what he was doing. We put that nose on your face. He knew, hey, you need to have, you got more nostrils to breathe with. Don't worry about it. You're all right. You'll be okay. But fall in love with you. And that's something people don't do. Fall in love with yourself. Begin to take care of you. Begin to just praise you. We're always giving everybody else accolades. Give yourself a pat on the back. Hug yourself and tell yourself how much you love you. That's all part of the healing process. That's all part of this journey. Begin to do that. And everything will be all right. So number 8, fall in love with you. I'm almost finished. Number 9, have an attitude of gratitude. Be thankful. Every day when I wake up in the morning, and I'm telling you the truth, I thank God. Even for the minute things, something as simple as my utilities being on. Do you know there are people who don't have air conditioners right now? It's hot in certain areas in the world, and they don't have air conditioners. My God, I couldn't begin to imagine what that feels like. Every time my air comes on, I look forward to it, that cool breeze. You know, thank God that your children, if you have children or nieces or nephews, whatever, grandchildren, that they're safe. Thank God for the money that you have in your bank. You may not be a multi-millionaire, but thank God for the money that you have. Thank God for your health and your strength. Thank God that you're in your right mind. I tell God every day, I thank you that I'm in my right mind. I know my name. I know where I am. I know whose I am. Thank God. Be grateful. And when you're grateful, you begin to draw things to you because he's a father. He's a heavenly father. If you're a parent or someone that has somebody under you that looks up to you, how do you feel when someone comes back and say, you know, Yvonne, thank you so much, mommy, for doing this and doing that. Oh, thank you so much, auntie. It makes you feel good. What do you want to do? You want to do more. Am I right? You want to do more. When somebody comes to you and they're grateful, they show gratitude, you want to do more for them. You just want, oh, let me go. Oh, you want, I gave you $10. Let me give you 10 more. That's how God is. When you operate in gratitude, you're going to draw those good things to you. That's how your Heavenly Father is. He wants you to have an attitude of gratitude. He wants you to be thankful for everything that he's done for you in your life. I don't care how small it is. The mere fact that you woke up this morning and you're on this webinar, you should be thanking God, because there are many people who did not wake up. Many. And some of them may be on past videos. We just haven't gotten to work yet. Many people will not go to bed in their beds tonight. They'll be in a morgue. So every day you can wake up and take a deep breath, you should be thanking God. Have an attitude of gratitude. And I had to learn that when I went through this ordeal. Every day I woke up from my ordeal, I thank God. Because I didn't have to wake up. Because there were many times, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. T came close to dying. I was in the 4th and last stage of the cancer. So have an attitude of gratitude. And then last but not least, make this declaration, a comma in my life is not a period. This is a comma in my life. It's not a period. I have to go through some things. God told us, Jesus told you, you're going to have some trials and tribulations. That's a done deal. Oh, that's coming. But guess what? I'm going to deliver you from all of it. I'm never going to leave you or forsake you. I got your back. And remember the poem about footsteps? Many of you have heard the footsteps about there were two people walking together, and this man was going through really hard. And then he looked down, he only saw one pair of footprints. And he asked God, where were you? I only saw one pair of footsteps. And what did Jesus say? I was carrying you. Those were mine. I was carrying you. I was carrying you. Those are my footsteps. I got you in my arms. I got you. So remember, this is a comma in your life. It's not a period. It's not unto death. You make that declaration. Make that declaration. I asked God to put power behind those words. When I wrote this book, I asked God, I said, Lord, please anoint these words. So when people make this declaration, this is a comma in my life, not a period, that it has power. I know these words are not in the scriptures. I understand that. But I still believe that there are certain declarations that God will honor. And I believe that God will honor this. If you remember this word, this is a comma in my life. It's not a period. It's not unto death. It's not going to take me out. I'm going to get through this. And you'll be well on your way to doing everything that God called you to do. Like Dr. T, I came through that. It was one of those horrific ordeals of my life. I still remember it like it was yesterday. But you all see me today. I'm here. I'm in my right mind. I'm doing certain things. And I'm not being braggadocious. I say it with humility because I did these things with Christ, with God. I didn't do it in my own strength. I did it with him. So if you remember the things that I taught you today, you're going to be on this journey and you're going to finish strong on your journey to physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. You're going to finish strong and you'll be well on your way to doing everything that God has accomplished, has wanted you to do and accomplish while you're on this earth. Let me do a recap. I'm going to give you, now you can take notes if you want to. You can write these down if you want to, but I want you to listen. The first one again, number one, is to forgive. Forgive yourself. Forgive the situation and let go of the past. That's number one. Number two, identify the areas of your life you have experienced pain and admit that it's time for you to let it go. You've held on to it long enough. However you want to write that. You've held on to it long enough. Let go of the pain. Number three, avoid toxic situations such as relationships and lifestyle. Number four, Learn how to say no to things that are not in your heart to do. Number 5, remember you are what you eat, spirit, soul, and body. Number 6, get a life. Get a life. Start doing things that enhance you and help you enjoy your life. Number 7, if you are at a dead-end career or job, do something about it. Number 8, fall in love with you. Number 9, have an attitude of gratitude. And last but not least, declare, this is a comma in my life, not a period. And when you apply these 10 principles to your life, I promise you, you experience God's abundance and healing in every area of your life. Hey, I'm Dr. T, and thank you so much for allowing me to share. Thank you. And also, before we go, I would like, if you don't mind, can you allow Antoinette to share her screen? I want to show you the book in which this topic came out of, if that's okay with you all.
Yes,
Can Antoinette share the screen?
definitely,
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Wow.
This is the book.
This is the book.
Yep, this is the book. And this book is on sale now. You can purchase this book if you like for $14.95. You can also order it on Amazon, but I prefer you to go to Lulu because this is the publisher, and you will get it right away. This is the publisher.
Wow.
So if anybody is interested in getting this book and reading all the things that I went through in this ordeal, hey, you're more than welcome to do so. And she will put the information in the chat. Tony, can you do that? Put the link in the chat to the publisher. Can you put that in the chat for me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So thank you all for allowing me to share. And I give it back over to you, Mabel. Thank you again. Thank you.
Wow, these 10 gems. Thank you so much. I like what, just to remind, as what you say, all these 10 points, 10 gems is for physical, emotional, and spiritual healing and wellness. So I think there's a lot to digest, but simple, but really what we need. So anyone who wants to comment first, please. I know there could be a few of us, but then John's hand, John's big hand. John, go ahead. Yes, are you unmuted?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, okay. But I can't hear you, John. Yeah. I can't hear you. You're going to have to refresh, I think.
Just a second.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Hold on.
Got it. We can hear you,
Can you-
John. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I had to take my earphones out. I think my earbuds were getting a little tired. They're ready to go on me, so I just took them out. Hold on, let me cut back to my. There we go. There I am. So I'll do that without my earbuds. Anyhow, I just like to thank you, Dr. T. I believe in brevity, and I was trying to be short. I don't go on for 4 hours like Michael maybe you did earlier. But I just have this also is great for me to hear, and for myself, I've just come through my most recent comma, let's say, definitely a comma for me, not a period, and when I think about everything you're saying to us today, I take it all to heart. And I guess about the only thing I have a little problem with whenever we get to a place where I need to love myself more. That's one thing I always think of, like that I need to learn from this. And also that, as I say, the thing that I think about is that, yes, this is just a comma for me, even my most recent troubles, and I've even had some physical things. As I was listening to what you went through, I could list some of those exact same things. I had cancer this past year. I've had urinary tract infections. And then I had this most recent thing happening to me. And again, it's just a comma. And I just move on. And all I would like to say, though, is that the thing that I learned, and attitude of gratitude, all these points you're making, I would just like to say that, yes, and what I learned from it all right now is that the simple thing is, like on passive, I'm still here. And that's it. Basically, I'm still here. And that's the same thing with on passive. Now, we got some troubles. We're going through some things right now, but it's still here. And so on passive is still here. And I've had things hitting me a lot in the last year and a half to 2 years. Doesn't matter. Again, I'm still here. And in this little comma, I'm moving on from here, and I'm having a positive attitude. And my attitude is gratitude. So that's all I want to say. Thank you a lot, folks. And this was very good that they have. That's just always good for to hear these things. Helps me with my own personal development. So that's it. Thanks a lot.
Exactly. Really good. So we have Yvonne and then Antoinette. Yvonne.
Thank you, Mabel.
Yeah.
Dr. T, that is such a prescription for living. It's so simple, but it's a prescription for living life and finishing strong. The thing is, we all have these commas, as you say, in our lives. Sometimes we get stuck there. That's the problem. We don't realize them as such. You know what I mean? They are just commas. When we have the faith that we should have in our Creator, then we see it as just as what you did. You heard him speak to you clearly. That's exactly what it is. You didn't stay stuck there. You moved as he caused you to move. We all have had those commas, and some of us have more than others. And as John said, this is the same thing with ONPASSIVE. It's a comma. It will be worked out. It's our faith and our stick-to-itiveness and our resilience that keeps us going. But many, 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 many of us just get stuck there and we do not move on. So I'm telling you, this prescription that you have given us here, it's easy to follow. I mean, it's simple, I should say, not always easy, because many of us don't do that. I am so glad that you are well. I had my recent little comma as well. Any one of us can tell you that. We do. But let us not make it a period. Don't turn a comma into a period. Thank you, Dr. T. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Wonderful. Antoinette, you.
Yes, excellent, excellent, excellent. Around the time that she had written this book, I was homeless. And in reading the book, I was so encouraged. And actually, we were working on the book together. And I was just so encouraged. And I started applying a lot of the principles that she had shared. And it was just it built so much hope, in me, because I was just so broken. And I was able to get a second wind and do something about it, and know that God was with me on my journey. And so I am very thankful. I'm trying to hold back the tears from how much this book has helped me. And I've seen it help a lot of other people, in reading this book. And I'll give this real short testimony. When she had her show, the executive producer's daughter, I think she was 13 or 14 at the time, and she had a rare cancer. And so Dr. T gifted them with her book. And just by following the physical principles, because one that she had shared is you're eating to live. And so her advice to them was, if their little girl, because in taking the treatments will make you not want to eat. And so her advice to them was, If she wants Pop-Tarts, give her Pop-Tarts. If she wants pizza, give her pizza. Anything that will get some type of nourishment into her body, because it's all about surviving. And she was able to come through that. She had emotional issues with her friends not being, the little girl having friends that were afraid to be around her. And the book touches on all of that. And they were able to get her through it and still have a good mental disposition as well. So the book helps you mentally, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, and having a heart and building a heart to forgive and to realize people are people, and it wouldn't be fair to expect everyone to behave and be just as sacrificing as we would be, because each person has their own level of sacrifice. And that was the biggest thing that I learned from her book. And so in my relationships, I don't fault people for falling short. That's just where they are. And, us encouraging them. And so I thank you, Dr. T, for your presentation. I thank you for writing the book, because it's been a great help for me as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. I really do appreciate you. Thank you very much. And that
Yes,
little girl
yes.
that she's talking about has gone on to do great things.
Wow.
This young lady is thriving. She's thriving, everything. So I thank God for that. I thank God for that. Yes, thank you.
That's how you are touching lives, and setting lives to their potential. Praise the Lord.
But I would really encourage all of you, you buy the book.
Yes.
It's out there, and I believe I asked Tony, I believe you can buy it. I think you can buy it internationally. I don't know anything about the currency, but I believe that you can go to the publisher, lulu.com, and the book will come to you wherever you are, and everything.
It
So I
is
think that you'll really
international.
I believe that you will all be encouraged. It'll give you an opportunity to get to know Dr. T a little better. I just gave you a little synopsis. Of course, but the book tells you in more detail a lot of things that I went through and the principles that I learned,
Praise the Lord.
And it'll be a book. And if it's not for you, pass it on to somebody that's going through something hard. Maybe you may know somebody who has cancer or a disease or anything. It might be financial, whatever it may be. But the book just gives you, it's a book of hope. You'll cry, you'll get mad, you'll laugh, whatever it may, it's going to evoke every emotion. And it's going to help you just say, hey, I can, if Dr. T can do this, I can do this. So that's what the book is all about. It's a comma in your life. It's not a period. You want to learn how to finish strong. No matter what you're going through, you're going to finish strong.
Finish strong.
The battle wasn't given to the swift or the strong, but the one who endures to the end. There you go.
Yes.
Endure to the end. Yes.
Wow. Do you have Debbie? Put up her hand, Debbie. Please unmute.
Good morning, family, Singapore, Malaysia. It's such an honor listening to Dr. T today.
Yes.
Dr. T, yes, we can never give up on ONPASSIVE, because ONPASSIVE has brought life to us through you. And without ONPASSIVE, we wouldn't be here, and we would not have experienced all the sharing that you're sharing. We are extremely grateful. That was an awesome presentation. Yes, our lives is not made of commas. It's not made of periods. Our life is meant for each and every one of us to be there supporting and listening to your life story. This is not the first time I'm hearing it, but each time I hear it, I just wonder how many people's lives you've touched out there, including the 13-year-old and including others who may not have had the opportunity to listen to you on a regular basis, but have read your book. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. especially this intimate aspect of your life, because not everyone is willing and able to share what they have gone through with those that they haven't even met before. We've never met each other, but it seems like we've been family for years.
Yes.
Thanks to ONPASSIVE. That
Yes.
is just a comma for ONPASSIVE. We are going to get there. That is why we are all still here together, not giving up, and never will give up. If our CEO has not given up, why should we?
Exactly.
Dr. T, thank you for that regular encouragement. And thank you for the weekly support. We're grateful for you, and we're grateful and thankful to Sister Mabel for giving us this platform, and Brother Kumaran Williams Aim today. Williams Aim today. Thank you for always making us laugh with your wonderful avatars that you prepare for each and every speaker. I just want to acknowledge that because it's the highlight. Each time I see, I want to see what he's doing this week, next week. What does he have to come up with? That's ONPASSIVE, making us to be creative and bringing the best out of you. Thank you, Brother Kumaran. Thank you to Sister Mabel, and back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much. Well, anyone want to comment?
Sister Mabel, let me continue.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Tunishai, that was a wonderful. All the topics, the 10 items, few of the topics, I'm experiencing now. But then it's okay. Certain things personal I cannot share. But 1, 2, 3, 4 is already there. But the number you say, love yourself. That's the one I was used to travel to Singapore every month last year. But since January I stopped. But now I want to go back and see my sisters there.
Yes.
So yes, to go and get charged. All right. Thank you, Dr. T.
I hold you on to it. I see you. I see you either this month or next month, huh? Start coming through. It's about 5 to 7, 8 hours of drive of transport to come to Singapore. So it's quite an effort, really. Is it 5 hours, 7 hours, depending on the bus, right?
Yeah.
Where they stop. Yeah.
So if you take in the night, it's about 5 to 6 hours, but then daytime, more than 8 hours. The checkpoint, the causeway, oh my God.
Yeah, it's an effort. It's an effort. So while I say a little bit, comment, anyone who have something to say, please put up their hand before I get Dr. T to summarize, as usual, for the speaker to summarize. I wanted Dr. T to just highlight something that is personal and touching me. But even as I go through, I find that all the 10 points, I need all the 10 points. I wanted to highlight to forgive. In a sense, there are many people who are trapped in depression because they can't forgive something. And most of all is that they can't forgive themselves. I like what you said about no is a very good word. Sometimes it's so hard to turn somebody down, but it's good to be doing what your heart tells you. It's so important because the time, in a way, is limited, so no is a good word. I want to carry on, but as I say again, all the 10 points, we need them. And how we can put it into a card, and carry it like what Yvonne Finn says, is a prescription to life, to living life. It's wonderful. So Dr. T, I want to thank you again and again for gelling with us in Asia. And we will definitely, I encourage everyone to get your book and your books. And then I want to be one of the first few to subscribe, if I can, and then pass it on. There are many people, Dr. T, here, even in Singapore, Malaysia, needs need your book. It's just how to get to them, and pass it on to them. So thank you again for empowering us month after month and for loving us. We love you, Dr. T. We really love you, and we really appreciate and grateful to God for bringing us together. And what ONPASSIVE has done is really a family. We have become a family. So Dr. T, since no one is going to put up their hand, can you please help us round today's session before we close?
Thank you so much again, everyone. Again, I want to encourage each and every one of you to know that this journey, sometimes it may appear to be a very hard one. You may feel alone, helpless, overwhelmed. And those feelings are real. It's okay to feel that way. God understands. But again, remember the poem about footsteps, about the two gentlemen that were walking side by side, and when life just got so unbearable, he noticed the footsteps in the sand. There were only one set of footsteps. And he asked Jesus, he said, "Where were you? I was going through so hard. And I only saw one pair of footsteps in the sand." And Jesus said to him, "Those footsteps were mine because I was carrying you."
Hallelujah.
Remember that God is carrying us. And we all have to remember that. We're all going through. I mean, right now, we see each other's faces and you're all pleasant looking and you got your best face on. But deep down inside, when you leave this platform, when you push that leave button on the Zoom room, you're going back to your real lives. And we don't know what you're carrying. But guess who does? He knows what you're carrying. That's why it's every single day. If we could just apply these 10 principles, and like I said, Dr. T is still a work in progress too. I don't want you all to get the impression, no, I have not arrived. I'm on this journey with you. I'm on this journey with you all. But I promise you that when we put these principles to practice, every day, God's like chiseling away at the hurt and the pain and everything that we're believing him for. It's going to come to fruition in this time. It's going to come to fruition, but just be steadfast, unmovable. Don't give up. Be resilient and know that this is a comma in your life. It's not a period. And when you realize that, you'll be well on your way to finishing strong on this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. T. Everyone needs to view this video, this message when it's uploaded to YouTube, and then share it. And please subscribe to the magazine Dr. T has, and then get the website to get the books. So thank you, Dr. T. Thank you, everyone here and all those who will be viewing it in YouTube. God bless all of us. Good night.
Good night, Sister Mabel. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Good night. Good morning. Good night. And
Good
whatever
morning. Good
time
night.
it is.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.